Hello guys and welcome to another Cravone Tanks video guide. Today I'm going to be covering the IS-7 and I have recorded this in patch 9.8 with some images from patch 9.7 I believe. The IS-7 is the tier 10 Russian heavy alongside the IS-4 and it branches off from the KV-1, KV-1S, KV-85, the IS, the IS-3 and the IS-8. The IS-7 is one of the most common and well-known tanks in the game. Therefore, it's taken me a while to record this because I wanted to get it absolutely right. It's an important tank for a guide to be on. Now, all clans want these in Clan Wars. They are good brawlers, frontline tanks. They have extremely good armor and their strengths are when they're side scraping. They can survive almost indefinitely. They've got an extremely strong turret, high alpha per shot, although the disadvantage of that is that it has a low accuracy, really long aim time, and it doesn't really have that higher rate of fire. But the IS-7 also has extremely good speed, which is part of the reason why it's taken into Clan Wars. Equipment wise, in the IS-7 you're going to want to have a high caliber gun rammer to increase the rate of fire. It's got quite a low rate of fire anyway, but increasing it's going to really help. I would recommend vents, and I would also recommend the enhanced gun laying drive because the aim time is extremely long. I wouldn't suggest the vertical stabilizer because it's more aim time that you need to improve. Consumables is extremely standard for the heavies. Repair kit, heal kit and fire extinguisher. If you want to replace something with the premium consumable which gives you extra stats, I would recommend replacing either for the fire extinguisher or the heal kit. It's completely up to you. Personally, I would replace the heal kit. Unlike its previous tanks, the IS-7 has 5 crew members, the additional crew member being the loader of the IS-3 and the IS-8. As a gunner, commander, driver and two loaders, one operating as a radio man. For the commander, or for all the crew, you're going to want to get brothers in arms and repairs. Repairs are so important on the IS-7 as his brothers in arms. Camo is going to do nothing, but for the commander I recommend Sixth Sense. Gunner I recommend Snapshot. For the driver I recommend Smooth Ride. Now Snapshot and Smooth Ride are because when you're pushing forward, because this is a pushing tank, you're going to be wanting to fire on the move into the side of enemies, so that just helps you do that. Clutch braking is definitely an option for the driver because the quicker you can traverse your tank, the quicker you can set up your angle back up. For the loader, you're going to want to get Adrenaline Rush. Now, some people might suggest Safe Storage. Personally, I don't get ammo racked in the IS-7 nearly as much as people think that the IS-7 gets ammo racked. So therefore, I recommend Adrenaline Rush. Based on, I reckon it's going to be more useful more often. The last skill, you're going to want situational awareness. That's pretty standard for someone that's a radio man. Now, the key to playing the IS-7 well is knowing how to deflect shots, knowing how to use that armor of use. You want to be trying to angle at about 15 to 10 degrees to your opponent. You don't want to be going dead on because that exposes quite a lot of your lower plate. And although you've got an extremely strong pipe nose, that lower plate is quite big. And it's your weak spot. You don't want to be hit there. So you want to be sort of imagining you're side scraping off your enemy. Now this image that I've got up here, this is kind of what you want your opponent to see when you're side scraping. You're baiting your opponent into firing at what he can see. From here, there is no point on the IS-7 which can be penned with conventional rounds, only with HE. So, from this angle, your opponent's going to be firing. Let him take the first shot. he fires, you pull back slightly, and then you just put the shell into him. You've got a free shot for nothing. It's got an extremely strong turret and upper front plate, the IS-7 does as well, which makes going hull down, for instance in this kind of situation, extremely strong. If the enemy team don't have RT, someone needs to flank you to get rid of you here, because the only thing that's going to do damage is HE shells. Now, from the front, these are the weak spots from the front. The lower plate is a weak spot, and the driver's hatch is a weak spot. Never try and shoot the turret from the front, unless it's pointing the other way. The cheeks are a complete no-go area, and the sections nearer to the middle might be easier to be penned from this kind of angle. On the next image you'll see it's very slightly angled. I'd say this is just about 10 degrees. Your lower plate is easier to be penned, but it's harder to be hit. That's the key thing. If you can obscure even more of that, you're sailing. The driver's hatch is extremely hard to hit from this angle, let alone pen. At this angle, nothing is going through your upper front plate. Now, this is angled slightly more. This is when you want to use your tracks to absorb damage. You're trying to bait your opponents into shooting you. Your tracks will block every shell that is fired at you at this situation, and you will take no damage as a result. Again, lower plate's weak. There is a small section just above the tracks where it's almost flat. You want to be careful of that. People can sometimes pen you there. Now this is the side view. So the big thing is you have an ammo rack spot in the center of your tank from the side, and it's from both sides, behind the central wheel. If you get hit there, you can be ammo rack killed, so be very careful. Never turn the IS-7 completely side on like this, because you're going to be penned so easily. I mean, even the turret can be penned like this. And again, you also don't want to be showing your back to the enemy. Even your turret can be penned from the back. Just out of interest, the lower back plate is the best place to put a HESH shell into the IS-7. It's one of the only places on the IS-7 where HESH is going to do full alpha damage. Now let's jump into a game. So these are going to be games which I did on live stream last night with my platoon mate Furby. We were both in IS-7s in this game. We get I think this is Rimberg? Yes, Rimberg. And just watch how we play here. I try and side scrape off basically everything, and it works like a treat. I do take quite a bit of damage in this game. I bump into an invisible rock there. I do take quite a bit of damage in this game, but I end the game with 5k damage and some ridiculous amount of block damage. So initially here I went to try and get the inside line so I could side scrape, but the 50B already got to a good inside spot, so I couldn't side scrape because I was going to take back shots if I did. So me and my platoon mate, we decide we're going to go the other way and leave the E100 held there. We've got a mouse with us. Now in the IS-7 you want to be pushing it when you can, but you don't want to be doing it without support. Here me and my teammate both see that we have a mouse on our team. Now normally the IS-7, you want the IS-7 to be soaking the damage, but we've got a mouse. A mouse is going to do that job a lot better. So we're going to let him push forward. We're going to let him take all the shells and get shot, because quite frankly that's what his tank's job is. And we're going to push around so that he's taken shots For like, he's taken shots for a reason. Now, I actually rushed this IS-8. This was sort of a good and a bad decision, but I sort of tried to get into a good spot where he died, and it worked. It paid off. I needed his wreck to survive the battle, and it worked. Now I'm now side scraped off of his wreck, and note, you can do this off most things, even allied living tanks. My ally counts 4 shells from the 50B, so I take the shot. He couldn't pen me from the angle anyway. Now I'm taking a risk here. Doesn't pay off. I was trying to go for the IS-7, the 50B. I was also lagging a bit, so I played quite carelessly there. But as I come back, I use the wreck again. Always use cover in this tank. And my ally Furby, he's also side scraped off the other way. Now you can see this is an opposing IS-7 doing exactly the same thing, side scraping, and it's extremely hard to go through him. But the E100, I mean, I had to use APCR on the E100. I checked my E100 video out later. This guy, he knows how to side scrape an E100, but what he's not doing is he's not turning his turret. But this isn't about the E100. I'm side scraped. I've got enough pen on my APCR shells to actually pen the tracks of the E100. Now the IS-7 of theirs is side scraping off. I penned his cheek there. Sometimes you can do it. I don't recommend doing it, but as you can see already from these battles, most of the time there's not much of the IS-7 you can see, and there my shell then bounces. Now Furby here is making a pretty dangerous call, and I'm actually telling him to hold because the IS-7 is still loaded. I go around the corner, tank the shell, then Furby comes around, puts the shell in, but he bounces. He bounced because he was not at a perpendicular angle. Being not at a perpendicular angle when shooting an IS-7 can make it difficult as well. So, but I put one in his lower plate. We take out the enemy IS-7, and we had to be very careful about where we shot because it's an extremely armoured tank. We're in them for a reason. Again, Mouse has no choice but to shoot the only part of our tank he can see, and that is the tracks. And yes, it tracked us, but it did no actual damage. We still have enough health to tank a shell from him. And again, he's firing at bits that you can see. We have to use an APCR shell to put one through his turret because the Mouse is one of those tanks which, if angled correctly, is almost impenetrable, even on the lower plate. So, yeah. I don't have a mouse, otherwise I'll do a video on it. But, yeah, in this game, you're able to see both me and my ally were in IS-7s. I think my ally got killed actually. Yeah, my platoon mate got killed, unfortunately. Or did he? I don't know. I thought he did. I thought he got killed by Artie. Yeah, I think he got dapped. But the two of us were side scraped, and the enemy I-7s, to their credit, were side scraping correctly as well. But we were able to outplay them because we were angled better. I was able to pen a few more shells on them. And this game brought up quite another issue. Well, quite another thing to remember in the IS-7. The IS-7s perform extremely well in platoons and groups. Like you saw there, they've all got a lot of armour. They can all side scrape off anything. And it's really good to have a lot of tanks which are fast and armoured like that. I mean, they're really good all-rounders. And as a result, because the combined speed and armour, you can push round a corner with quite heavy numbers and take out the enemy team. This is why they are used in Clan Wars. It's a combination between the armour and the speed. Now, this is our next game. I don't think we did well at all in this game. So, first of all, we commit to the 1-2 line because look at our team setup. They've got some mediums. They didn't have anything which I perceived as getting there before we did in terms of TDs, but that Waffenträger got there before we got into cover because one of the teammates was getting in the way. Snapshot on the move, nothing special about that. Now we do make an effort to side scrape against this E100. Because we've got into position, we want to cover the middle now, but the problem is that E100 and Waffenträger are going to stop us going up the ramp. We have to deter them. I'm not side scraped here. There's a good chance the shell's going to pen me. No, I am side scraped. Now, if your opponent is angled but not side scraped and they're in an IS-7, shoot the front wheel, because that's going to be probably the easiest spot where you're going to pen, do damage and track him. So I start moving up the hill because I couldn't see that much that we could do on the 1-2 line. My platoon mate stays there, just cover my back as I go up. And my goal here is to engage their mediums, but I see an enemy IS-7 here. Now, reason why I kept this particular replay in is for this firefight, because this is me in an IS-7 against him in an IS-7, and he doesn't play his IS-7 that well. But although neither do I, because that was the worst shot in the entire world. Had he hit me, which I'm glad he didn't, that would have been an extremely bad exchange. That was a gold shell, I believe. But yeah, I mean, if you're struggling with IS-7, sometimes putting a gold shell into the cheek will work. I've got my platoon mate now, trying to deter the 183 behind me, whilst I'm angling at the enemy IS-7. I'm able to angle it to get him to bounce off my tracks. He is not side scraped at all in terms of trying to angle, and therefore he's showing his low play even worse. Now, what I penned his turret there. I don't even know how, but what makes this weird, well, I think I'm gonna tank. I think I'm gonna tank an RT shell in a second. Yeah, that was an RT AP shell hitting my turret. I mean, what more to say about that? But the enemy IS-7 could hit my lower plate, but he didn't. This Waffenträger, I wanted to stop him being an issue for me, so kill. But the cheeks on the IS-7 can be penned if you're facing them, but I reckon you're not going to do it without APCR or heat shells. You can't do it with standard shells. Unless maybe you're in an E100, J-Clan E100, and you might get lucky enough. So my game effectively gets finished by an RT shell. Right, now this next one, I think we did badly in this one as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is one where we did badly. So here we look at the map, and we decided to go to the 1-2 line because we're 2 IS-7s with decent amount of armour. Yes, the enemy team have got a gun carriage, I believe, yes, but there are some spots to stay arty safe in the 1-2 line. Now we expect to get a bit more cover. That was me pinning the map, showing where the arty cover was. Now we needed a lot more cover from our team. We eventually end up winning this game, but it won't look it from how we play. But sometimes stalling the enemy team is enough, and what we do here is stall them for quite a while. Well, considering their numbers. So we go across here, we see enemy IS-7. Now, immediately looking at the platoon structure, I think there's going to be 2 tanks around this corner. But I played quite badly. I exposed my side armour to them as I was crossing, which you should never ever do in the IS-7. I should have angled to about 20 degrees, if possible, to try and deflect that shot, and it maybe would have deflected the shot. From that angle, there was actually quite a high likelihood for him to hammer kill me. Now I'm side scraping here off the on the Jack Panzer 100. Now that thing has 300mm pen. I do not want to take a shell from him, which is why I rushed this next shot. That was my bad, because even though I was side scraped and I had the armour, I didn't expect the shell to bounce if it did hit me, just because of sheer pen. If he had hit my shoulders, there was a chance it was going to go through. So I end up team shooting there by accident. I guess that shows off one of the disadvantages of the IS-7 gun, is it's quite inaccurate. And I also had HE loaded for the Waffen trigger. But even now I bounce 1 or 2 shells before I finally go. Now the final video I'm going to show is going to be about on Overlord, where we faced an enemy IS-7 who was able to angle, I would say, semi-correctly, and all of these videos are showing that both me and my opponents tend to angle correctly. So I'm hoping this is going to help people see what kind of angle they need to be at in the IS-7. Now the enemy IS-7 here, he did something pretty dumb, and I capitalised. I could have easily ammo-racked him at that kind of spot, but I think my shell hit his hole rather than between his tracks. But I'm hoping, from seeing all the angling from both myself, my ally, and my enemies indeed, that some people will be able to find out the correct way of playing the IS-7. I have not gone into mentality or playstyle with the IS-7 because, I mean, it's a very versatile tank. You can play aggressively, you can play defensively. You don't want to be playing as a scout, well, obviously not as a scout, but you don't want to be playing as a sniper either. You're better off when you're grouped up with them. So we're covering this IS-7 that's behind the bunker. I bounced him because, unlucky, he penned me through the front lower plate. Now I would be surprised if that wasn't a gold shell, considering it ammo-racked me. But the lower front plate can be ammo-racked occasionally. So what we do here is we actually work out he has no support at all. If we pushed at him, there'll be no one to defend him. But at this point we're already 9-0 down. Yes, 9-0 down this quickly. So our call comes a bit too late. Furby pushes in. I'm gonna come in here, get a back shine. Now I get killed because I'm out in the open and, well, I'm trying to angle against too many tanks. There's not really much I can do in that situation. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage of what my ally did for this game, which was survive for quite a long period of time. But yeah, that's it. I hope this is going to help people learn how to angle the IS-7. Sort of learn some of the play styles of the IS-7 and some of the mentality. Obviously, there's not just one mentality sort of thing for the IS-7. So that is it for this video guide. Check out my other videos, and as always, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. If you want to see me if you want to see me stream, I do it occasionally. It's www.twitch.tv/Cravone_gaming. So yeah, pop by, say hello. Let me know if you like my videos. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.